You have to have somebody that can do that, that they can say, oh yeah, I recognize that I don't do that. Let me work on that and get better on that and work with the team.
I'd like to tell people your job as a leader is to build a winning team. And so you have to be honest and say, who's a winner, who needs some development, and who's a terrorist.
Everyone also has to be really clear about these are the business reasons that we're making these decisions so that we can continue to love and serve our clients in this way.
All right, we are back here. The whole month is on development of leadership and management, and that can look different in every agency. So I don't want to get involved in titles where we think about, well, this and that. I get it. Every agency is going to have a little different format on it. But something today that everybody from an owner to a team lead has to do, which is get their team to buy in. And that's a common question we get in our sales process is like, how do you get the team to buy in? And I was like, well, what's the consequence if they don't do it? And everybody looks at me like, consequence? We don't have those here. So we want to make sure that we talk about buy-in today and the importance of it in an insurance agency, because without it, your job is going to become harder. But I think, and I'm going to have Bobby talk about this, there's I think two halves of it that we don't talk about. There's buy-in and then there's a lack of respect, right? So I can be bought in because I respect the leader and I trust them that they're going to make the right call and that this is something I should have an open mind to. But if it's just like whatever you do, right? I could give everybody $5,000 and somebody be like, well, I've been here longer. Why does Bobby get $5,000? I've been here 4 years longer than her. Shouldn't I get more? That is when you have a lack of respect. So Bobby, tell us a little bit about, how important is it to kind of identify the buy-in, and how important really is the vision of the agency to start that buy-in process?
I think the vision starts everything, right? We have to know, where are we going so that I know how do I fit in on the way to get there? Where is my seat on the bus? What am I expected to do? So the vision of the leadership is so important, and it's something that we have to communicate. And when I think about this, especially with working with agencies that maybe they've been around for a really long time, and I think about, training and vision as kind of like the telephone game, where those that have played the telephone game in the past, you might have said what your vision was, but then it goes to the next person and then the next person. And by the time now it's 10 years, 15 years, 100 years later, is our vision really being communicated the way that we thought it was being communicated? It's really important to understand what the vision of that agency is so that I can know, am I aligned with that or am I not aligned with that? Mm-hmm. And if I am, that's awesome, right? We can all jump on board. We can all start rowing the same direction and we can crush our goals. If I'm not aligned with that, that's okay too. It doesn't make the agency a bad agency. It doesn't make the person a bad employee. It just means we're not in alignment and maybe it's not a great fit. But in those cases, then we have to be able to pull that Band-Aid quickly too. And so that's where accountability is going to be important.
Yeah, we have to be okay. Like the person's not in it. I mean, I worked for a company for a long time. I loved their vision. I loved their values. They took private equity money. The whole thing changed. And every day I came in, I was like, this just doesn't feel right. And I decided to leave. And they were like, we value you, but you aren't the best fit in this company any longer. Like, we need people that don't care as much, for lack of a better word. They wanted all fill out an online form, and we were trying to really empower and help agents and build relationships. And they wanted to be a SaaS company that had no relationship, right? And so what I was feeling was validated. I'm like, you're right. This is amazing. So now we can talk about what to do. And they gave me the grace to that gave them time to figure out what to do. And I mean, I know that this is not a common scenario, but the vision, when it was clear to me, I was like, I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. And in my heart, I felt like they were making a mistake and I couldn't get the buy-in. But I also had to be a professional and vacate and not hold them back and become like a stick in the mud, right? They didn't need to build a business around my values. They clearly stated them and we had to move on. So Therese, how do we develop this leadership skill of getting a new leader to be able to buy into a team? Because the whole team's sitting there like, who are you? What are you doing here? The first step is getting them to buy into the leader, right?
Right. So You need to find somebody with great communication skills, somebody who's a team builder and a motivator, somebody who has strategic thinking, can make decisions quickly. You know how you've got 12 people in the agency and you have to make a meeting and you ask every single person if they can be available for the meeting and you have 12 people's opinions? You're never going to be able to get all those people. So you have to make a decision quickly. The meeting is going to be right now, and you guys need to be there. And if someone can't be there, then you work on figuring out problems and solutions for them to be there or not to be there. Customer relationship management, adaptability. So your leaders have to have all these skills to be able to communicate and connect with the staff. You can't come in like a bull in a china shop and try to break everything, because that's not how it works. You have to come in. You have to assess an agency and see, what are their processes and procedures? What is the leadership looking for from a manager? And then go from there. You kind of have to, the agency adapts to the person kind of adapts to the agency. Obviously, it's more of the person adapting to the agency than vice versa, because you're bringing them into your culture. But you also have to make sure that culture is there and it's built and it's ready to go. And if not, they're going to have to help you build that culture to get it to work. So you're working with people. There's so many moving parts to it. It's possible, and our course will help you get there. We're going to walk you through it step by step so you can get there. But the training is what you need to just be an open book and look and see, okay, do they have communication skills? If they don't, what can we give them to help them with their communication skills? They need to be a team builder and a motivator. I'm very driven. I have the habit of just jumping right in and not saying, hey, good morning, how are you? If I were in an agency and managing, I would have to work on that other softer side of building rapport, because I struggle with that and I can recognize that. Constructive criticism, people have told me, and I take that very seriously, and I understand that I have that issue. So you have to have somebody that can do that they can say, oh yeah, I recognize that I don't do that. Let me work on that and get better on that and work with the team.
I like that. And I think you also have to build a winning team. So sometimes as a new leader, you have to realize there are going to be some people that just don't buy in. So Bobby and I work with an agency where they do a lot of acquisitions, and I say this to every agency. We actually work with a lot of agencies that have acquisitions, but if you keep 50% of the staff, it's a miracle, because it's such a big change to go. Usually agency owners don't sell at the height of like they're humming, the sales velocity is going, like there's accountability, they're using technology. People usually sell when it's been a little bit of like a resort for a couple of years where we don't want to change anything. I might be selling. I'm not going to go crazy. Like I'm sitting in the book. And so all of a sudden they get bought, usually by an agency that's trying to grow and has a longer runway. And now there's accountability and agency standards and technology and goals and one-on-ones and all this stuff. And it's like, whoa, where am I? And so for some reason, as opposed to stick it out, they'd rather go find a whole new place with a fresh start, because the idea of that level of change or that amount of animosity for the sale, they just can't get over. So when they're in control of making the change and leaving the agency, it feels better than just trying to rework it out with the people who are here. I'd like to tell people your job as a leader is to build a winning team. And so you have to be honest and say, who's a winner, who needs some development, and who's a terrorist. You can't think of it emotionally. Like, yes, you have to invest in people. And sometimes the terrorists present as terrorists and then they mellow out. Okay. Like they can do a plot twist. But there are many times where you might have someone that is on your team that is working against you. We call this the post-meeting meeting. Anything you do, they come back and be like, did you hear what she said? Did you know what they want to do here? And that helps 0 people. Okay. You have to be able to identify that, and you have to be able to address it, hold that person accountable fairly, just like everybody else, identify where they're falling short, and be ready to move on. Because what happens is you're holding back everybody else. And then usually what happens is you get rid of that person. They're like, the day's so much better. I don't have the negativity all around me. And like somehow we're able to do all this work, but they were telling us how busy they were all the time. But they're gaslighting everybody, right? They're just telling everybody how important they are. My clients will never go on EFT. My clients all need to be reshopped. And then it's like, they'll never talk to anybody else. My clients only want to talk to me. That's my personal favorite. So every single one of your clients only want to talk to you. What happens when you go on vacation? What happens at lunch? What happens if you break your leg? They'll only talk to me. They wait for me until I come back from vacation. And in my mind, I'm like, how horrible. like, what a ball and chain, right? Like I can't succeed. I can't improve my career. But a lot of times it's just an ego trip of, well, my clients, you cannot ever fire me because you'll lose all of my clients. And then you might lose like a handful, but then everybody else like, whatever, whatever. So you have to get a winning team, and that means a positive team culture and people that work together and they don't throw up these boundaries and speed bumps and roadblocks all the time. Now, there is a difference between somebody having a question or saying, hey, I'm struggling with this concept, but that's good communication versus, well, we'll see. We'll see. Then you have to really work through that. So, Bobby, when we do the agency assessment, we do a lot of vision. What are some like tactical tools, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3 that someone could take to get people to buy in on the vision, right? Like a lot of times I think this is like the next generation coming on board, right? And saying, this is where we're going. And it's delicate because you have the OG veteran team that was like under mom or dad or a different setup. And now, wait, you want me to use technology and what's going on and all this stuff.
Yeah. I think one thing that we really, really have to do is we have to understand where the team is at so we can meet them there. And I think us as leaders, we have to have good feedback loops and know and be open to receiving that feedback so that we can understand where is the team seeing challenges. But we also have to know that there are business reasons that we are making these decisions. And so everyone also has to be really clear about these are the business reasons that we're making these decisions so that we can continue to love and serve our clients in this way. But this is the vision and this is where we're going and these are the expectations. So diving back in again to, what are the metrics? How do we share those things? But I think a lot of times people just want to be heard.
That's true.
They just really need to be heard. They want to tell you what they want to tell you. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to change everything. You're not going to shake it all up and be like, oh, well, because Susie doesn't like it this way, we're going to do it this way. No, you spent the time on this vision. This is your agency and where you want to go. But you also have to remember that as an agency leader, sometimes we have to check our egos too, and we can't take these things personally. We have to understand that this is their perspective. They see this from their lens in this way. So what can we learn from that? And how can we make adjustments? And not necessarily adjustments to the vision, but the way that we deliver the information or the way that we coach the team to get on board with that information. And so and we also have to show them what's in it for them.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's in it for them?
Well, and I think sometimes people want to stay the same. Like, I think we want Groundhog Day, right? It's comfortable, but it's comfortably uncomfortable. And I tell people, we stayed the same, we'd be on typewriters. If we stayed the same, you'd have one monitor. If we stayed the same, there'd be reading books, And so what happens is if we don't change, the outside world changes, then forces change upon us too. So the idea is, and I always tell people, there might be some things that make you a little weirded out, right? Like having a robot. Or there's still a lot of friction points in virtual assistants too. So I would always say, like, why not keep an open mind and try? What's the worst that happens? The robot eats our data. Well, we'll get it restored. The virtual assistant I don't like. We'll get a different one. Like, like understanding and trusting that new things are not always bad things, right? So, Therese, do you want to wrap us up and give us a little conclusion on buy-in and your final thoughts?
Absolutely. So we need to have clear visions, values, processes, and procedures. We need to make sure we continue to develop the leadership skills on our team. We need to build a winning team so we can gain buy-in for the visions and values of our agency. So we have everybody on the same page working towards the same goals. And once we are aligned with that, our agency will then have that accountability culture that we're looking for, and everybody will be on the same page. You'll have less drama, you'll have less problems, and everybody will kind of be friends, not necessarily best friends,
Friendly.
but they'll be friendly. So that's what we're going for. Look into our course. This leadership course is just an excellent opportunity for leaders to really drill down to their skills and help just build those skills. Even if you think you're a greatest leader, it never hurts to learn more. There, you can always learn more. I find that I learn something new every day. So check the course out. We're excited that you're here watching this. Watch all of our blogs and our podcasts. We'll have more coming. And thanks for joining us today. See us in the next one.
All right, guys. Signing out. We'll see you in the next podcast.